Hello and welcome to Life as Mama Bear. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 quick and easy, freezer-friendly school lunch recipes. These are not only going to cut down on your time during the week, but they're going to save you lots of money by not having to buy those expensive school lunches. These can be frozen for the entire month, so all you need is just an hour or so one day to make them all ahead of time and get them ready. Make sure to let me know that you like these kind of videos by subscribing to my channel and hitting that like button. Let's get started. This first one we're going to be making is homemade pepperoni rolls. So you will need 2 Pillsbury pizza crust, some pizza sauce, the pepperonis of your choice, and some mozzarella cheese. The first step is going to be to grease a cookie sheet or 2, depending on how many you're making. I just use butter, but you can use spray grease or vegetable shortening. You're going to go ahead and unroll your pizza crust and press it out so it's like evenly thin and easy to roll. Then you're going to go ahead and slice your pizza crust into little triangles, sort of like you would have if you were making croissants. Once they're cut, you're going to go ahead and add your pizza sauce. I usually just do a little strip in the middle, that way it's not seeping out the sides when you're rolling them up. Next, we're going to add pepperonis. I usually do 2 or 3. And then just top them all off with a little bit of cheese. You want to try not to do too much cheese or it'll just melt out the sides when it's cooking. Once all your toppings are on, you can go ahead and roll it up the same way you would a croissant. And then I fold in the sides a little bit just to help hold everything in. Alright, so now we're just going to pop these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. You're going to want to eyeball them to make sure they're not burning or cooking too quick. So I usually will set my timer for 10 minutes and then just kind of peek in there and look. They will expand quite a bit as the crust cooks, so just make sure you have them separated by about 1 inch. While these are cooking, we're going to go ahead and get started on lunch number 2. Next up are our homemade Uncrustables. So you'll need peanut butter and jelly of your choice, some white bread. Do not choose Miss Baird's, it did not end up working out. I've used Wonder Bread before and that worked fine. And you'll also need a jar ring for a wide mouth jar. Go ahead and spread your peanut butter onto each side of the bread. This is going to help to seal the sandwich, so you don't have to go all the way to the crust, but you want to make sure it's to the edge of where your cutout is going to be. And then add, this one is a 1/2 tablespoon. You don't want to go too crazy with the jelly, so I would say a teaspoon or a 1/2 tablespoon is fine. And then turn your ring upside down and press it into the bread, and then cut off the crust around the ring. It's super simple and Colton just loves these. I could make him a plain peanut butter and jelly sandwich and he will take a couple bites and be done, but if I make him one of these Uncrustables, he will finish the whole thing every time. So you'll see on this next one, when I go to press it out, the Mrs. Baird's bread has like a swirl on the inside of the bread, and when I press it with the jar lid, it causes the bread to sort of open up. And this is what I was talking about the Mrs. Baird's maybe not being the best option. I've used the Bimbo bread and Wonder Bread in the past, and both of those have worked just fine without any issues, but I was able to pinch in where the sandwich has spread apart and it worked just fine. It sealed right up. So If that happens, just give it a little pinch. Now that I'm done putting together these Uncrustables, I'm gonna pop them in the freezer so that they can freeze individually. And then after about 2 hours, I'll pop them into a gallon-sized Ziploc bag, and then they'll be ready to go. All right, let's get started on lunch number 3. The last lunch we're gonna be making is a classic ham and cheese on a Hawaiian roll. So you're gonna need the Hawaiian rolls, lunch meat, and cheese. It's that simple. I just take these natural cheese slices and I will cut them in quarters. Then on each sandwich, I just put 2 small squares of cheese. For this batch, I'm just gonna be making 8 sandwiches, which is what Colton will go through in a month. So you're just gonna slice them in half. And then go ahead and separate them and lay them open so you can fill them. I love these Hawaiian rolls because they're nice and soft. So I take 1 slice of lunch meat, fold it in half, and then rip it in half, and that fits perfectly on the bottom of a Hawaiian roll. And then I add my cheese to the middle and then another slice on the top. And it seems to fill up the bread nicely. You don't want to put any condiments on it because those aren't going to freeze and thaw well. And you also don't want to put your cheese against the bread because it gets kind of a strange texture when it's defrosting. But if you go meat, then cheese, and another slice of meat, everything defrosts perfectly fine. And you can also add in like little packets of mayonnaise or mustard or whatever you like on the sandwiches to the lunchbox. And if they're too young to add them themselves, then you can just go ahead and add it right when you're putting it in. For these, you're gonna wanna add some plastic wrap around them just so it holds the sandwich together nicely. So just wrap them each up individually or however many you think you're gonna eat at a time and put them in a gallon bag. Colton will only eat 1 at a time because he's still young, but if your kids are a little older and might eat 2, just go ahead and wrap them together, save you a little bit of plastic wrap. These are our pepperoni rolls that have cooled completely. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them into a gallon-sized freezer bag and they can just go right in the freezer. When I send them to his school, I'll just pop them in a little container or wrap them in a wax wrap and they'll go just fine into the microwave. So this is what it looks like when it's done, and when you tear it open, it's got your pepperoni and cheese and sauce, and they are so good. And then the Uncrustables, once they're frozen, you can just put them all into a gallon-size bag. And I do the same with these. I can just put them into a wax wrap or a container, and they defrost just fine by his lunchtime. So here they are. I hope you guys give these a try. They're really good, really simple, and they freeze and defrost really well. All right, I hope you found these recipes helpful. Let me know if you try any of them in the comments below and what you think. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button before you go, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.